Woohoo! Special
Yeah,
edition of
so
a
I can't.
live show. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country. It's Tuesday. No, it's not Wednesday, but who cares? We're going to talk about incredible wines. We're going to talk about Niagara wine, about a special project called Collab. We're going to talk Divergence wine, and we're going to talk with Jeff Moote, who is the owner, winemaker of the brand. And I have like 10, 12 of his wine here that I've started to taste a couple weeks ago. Well, I would say maybe not that much because a couple 10 days ago we were not back from Burgundy. But since I'm back, I've been tasting some Divergence wine, and holy smokes, what a treat! I'm so excited to share with all of you because for the first time in Carl's Wine Club history, in our 6th year, because yes, last week we celebrated our 6th year anniversary, July 1st, 2020. That's when we started. And so for the first time, we're going to do 7 brands in 1 month, all under the same umbrella. Every 4 or 5 days or 3, 4 days, depending, we're going to meet with the new winemaker and we're going to talk about their wines. And you're going to have the option and to build your own case over the month because they all make their wine at the same place. They all make their wine at Marinison Winery in Niagara on the Lake, and it's the Collab project. So there's 7 smaller virtual producers, and they all get together and they build that program under Mark Pister uh, umbrella, under the Collab. And Jeff Moote is the dominant or one of the most important producer in the whole group. And we're going to start with Jeff today and talking Divergence, because behind me I have some 95, some 94, 93, and a boatload of 92 points wine. And I'm really, really, really excited to talk Roussanne, Marsanne, Viognier, Syrah, Chardonnay, and loads of Sauvignon Blanc. So it's going to be really, really interesting. We have some cool stuff for you. So if I'm sweating, I mean, it's because it's 36 degrees here in Summerland. I feel like if I get stuck in Rome at 45 degrees for so long and the heat followed us, but I won't complain. Tasting these amazing wines just make me feel so much better. And in a second, I'm not sure if Mira still can hear me. We have a little bit of internet problem, but if not, it's not a big deal. We are going to bring Jeff with us here in the interview. Whenever Mira is ready, or if she can hear me, there we go. You know what? We're going to do this right here at the stage. And Jeff is just joining me right here, right now. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time where Jeff is in Niagara, and it's 5 o'clock here. Happy Tuesday, everyone. If you're tuning in, guys, let us know where you're joining and let us know what is in your glass, because in our glass here, Jeff and I, we have some incredible jam. Jeff, how are you doing? Happy Tuesday, my man.
Good to see you, and thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's start here, okay? You are the owner of Divergence brand, which is you started. Take us a little bit. When did you start it, and what was your background before starting Divergence and the approach of collab and the whole thing?
Okay, yeah. So I started Divergence in 2020, but going a few years before that, my background was in engineering. So my undergraduate and my first decade or so of my career was as a chemical engineer, something I still do as well as wine today. And around 2017, I learned about the program at Brock University in enology and viticulture. Started taking some classes to learn about wine. I grew up in the Niagara area, so it's always been around, but was never certainly a wine expert. Didn't know much about it, but I was curious to learn more. And as soon as I started studying, I was hooked. So uh, give it 5 or so years working in the industry here in Niagara, and then in 2020, I was like many people, contemplating options, doing many different things, and speaking with Mark Pistor, who is one of my instructors at Brock and also kind of a key player in our industry here. And between the two of us and a few other people, we had the idea to start Collab Wine and Beverage. So this
So
is yeah, go ahead.
that was a very that was an awesome. I mean, for you guys to put like a couple brain together and go get the financing and go get like all of the key people to be able to start something that we see almost in every big wine region in the world. You know, like these co-op, these places where winemaker have the ability, the equipment, the knowledge on site to be able to reach their dream in terms of winemaking. We see that everywhere. We didn't have that in Canada. And you guys together coming out of Rock had this incredible vision and it grew pretty fast, right?
Sorry, I think I'm missing a few words there of your question. I apologize.
So, okay. Can you hear me now?
I'm getting bits and pieces.
Yeah. Give me a second here. Okay. How about that, Jeff?
Hmm. So I think Carl's having some technical difficulties while he sorts that out. If I understand the line of his questioning, I think he was asking just a little more about how those things came together uh, as we started Collab. So as I was mentioning, there was a few of us looking to have a place to start our virtual brands. Mark was already making wine under his label Fogelar Wines, and oh, we have Mira.
Sorry, guys. I think the devices are actually too hot or something because I don't know why else the internet's not working. So we're now on a different phone. And sorry to bug you. You were in the middle of saying something, Jeff.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm just starting
Yeah.
to try to answer what I think Carl was asking about how we started Collab. So
Is that what you were talking
That's
about?
exactly
How
what I
we
was
started?
asking. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, Jeff.
perfect. You
Hi,
guys
Jeff.
are coming through clear, so I'll just finish that
Okay.
that thought. Yeah. So at that time, Mark and his team were making the wines at Marinissen, and we're able to approach the ownership there and pitch them the idea of collab, that we had these different winemakers and brands who needed a home, and fortunately they went for that. So we have a great agreement there where we're able to make our wines under one roof. As you mentioned in the intro, there's 7+ brands all working out of that facility, and it's a range of us from winemaker owned brands like myself to growers or people who are just brand owners with an idea. And it's, I think, as you were saying, a concept that's been done elsewhere but didn't at the time exist in Niagara. Now we have Niagara Custom Crush Studio, which is also doing virtual labels under one roof. So it's really wonderful that there's a couple places for us to do this here in Niagara.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was saying, Jeff. You're bang on. Like here, like in every main region around the world, you have these co-op, right? Where there's a place where under, like, there's knowledge, there's equipment, there's where people who wants to make wine has a spot to come and just to reach their goal, reach their dream. So, I mean, for what you guys put together at Marioness, it's absolutely fantastic to see all of those different styles of virtual winemaker all coming together. And what I'm really curious about is it's the synergy that you have in the building. I mean, I know for a fact because I know you and Mark a lot, and I know a few of the other producers in there, and we are as a club going to know you guys more because every 3 or 4 days we're going to have one of you guys in interview. So it's really cool that we can know you better. But how is the synergy in the building? How you guys like? Is it a collaborative type of environment, or everyone is a little bit for how's that work?
Yeah, it's really complementary. I think that everyone brings something different with their brand and their background. So you have different winemakers able to share ideas. We bounce ideas off each other. We help each other when we need to make winemaking decisions. So even though we all have our respective brands and our own visions, we work together to bring those different visions to the bottle, to the glass. And then there's others who bring other skill sets and maybe better on the marketing side, or they're grape growers with amazing vineyards. And so some of those growers make labels with their own wines, but are also grower partners for wines of mine and other brands in the portfolio. So you're going to be speaking with the Oppenlanders and Corey Mio later this week. And these are people who I'm also sourcing grapes from, in addition to helping them make their wines for their respective labels.
Yeah, this is really cool. The side to the marketing side to the winemaking side. I mean, this is so cool to see that developing. And I mean, for you and Mark Pister, like you and Fogler are the two bigger producer in there. How many cases do you produce in a good year, Jeff? You are at what, like 2,000 cases a year, something like that, or more?
It's no, just about 1,000 cases for
Just
Divergence.
about 1,000 cases. So you're telling me right now you produce 1,000 cases and you have like 15 different labels?
More than that, and it's certainly too many. Yeah, it's just ask Mark later this week. Yeah, it's too many SKUs is a problem. But the reason is I get offered such great access to vineyards, and I can't turn down a great piece of parcel of fruit or a great opportunity. So here we are.
That's it. That's it, right? So now you guys are 7 or 8 at Collab, and is there room for more, or you guys are a little cap right now? You need to have room to grow.
I would say the both in the number of producers and case production, it's pretty balanced at the moment. That's also because of Marinissant's success. They've been growing the whole time as well, while we've been tenants. So that's good, I think, for everybody. So where we're at right now is kind of stable, but yeah.
Just like a good wine, right? The balance is the key. You don't want too much oak. You don't want too much anything. The balance, just like the team synergy right now.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
You,
really good.
so, so you guys are located in Niagara on the Lake, correct? For where Marinesen is, you guys are in the on the Formal Creek appellation, where the
That's right.
location is. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, and so would you say like the fruits is coming from all over Niagara, though, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We have vineyard-driven brands where they're bringing their fruit from their vineyard, which is, in one particular place. And then you have brands like mine where I'm sourcing from all over the peninsula. I would
Yeah.
say biased a little bit towards West Niagara, um, Lincoln Lakeshore and the Bench, but I have a good number of Niagara on the Lake sites as well.
So Now let's talk a little bit about, because some pretty cool stuff happened to you lately. I mean, you've got a bunch of like gold medal, wine line, all Canadian wine championship. And I think for me, what really resonated to me, because I had some conversation with BC people. I remember like late last year, and people were asking me if who's coming up on the scene, like we're gonna see like burst out of the scene. And I mentioned your name a few times because I've been tasting your wines for at least 3 years now. And when I heard that you won the Paul Pender Award, and I'm sorry, it's completely off script. I didn't tell you that because I know you're so humble. You're probably gonna have asked me to skip that. But when I heard that you won the Paul Pender Award, Jeff, I was like, oh my god, this cannot happen to a better person. I'm so happy for you. And I saw some Thomas Batchelder as well comment. We have all have Thomas in very high regard. And Thomas said the same thing. It cannot be awarded to the better person. So what does it mean to you to win the Paul Pender Award?
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, it means a lot, and the words that came after from uh, everyone around the industry, fellow winemakers, really reinforce that. Just like everything you're saying there, it's a really meaningful award because not only Paul's legacy and the memorial aspect of the award, but also the way it's selected. There's a small panel of winemakers, and being selected by your peers, I think, really speaks to accomplishments and commitment. And I hope that I can honor such a wonderful award. I'm really honored to receive it, and um, still kind of taking it in. It came as
Yeah.
quite a surprise, and anyone close to me has heard this story. I found out at 10 p.m. the night before that I was receiving it, and I should probably make my way to Toronto to be there. And so, fortunately, I did.
Did you make it?
I did. I did barely. I had to shuffle some meetings and drive quickly down the QEW, but I made it to receive that award a few weeks back.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely amazing, and we're so happy to have you on this week to celebrate that with you. Because I mean, if can you describe a little bit, give me the big line of the criteria of the award?
As I understand it, sure. I mean, it's an award that's intended to recognize a winemaker who is, as the award is titled, a rising star, someone who has accomplished much and is continuing to rise in their career. Um, I know that the team behind the award tries to choose people who exemplify Paul's spirit. He was really
Yeah.
known as a winemaker's winemaker, always helping and collaborating with peers, and really just trying to be true to the wines, which is exactly what I try to do with my brand.
Exactly, and I mean, like you're at the head of collab, and it's like in the core of what you guys do, you and Mark. It's exactly what it is. So, congratulations for that. So now let's talk about a little bit about the core of your portfolio. Okay, when you try to describe Divergence to people who have never heard about it, what would you say it's the core grapes of your portfolio? Does it have one? I mean, I see like Sauvignon Blanc is important for you. Bubbles are important for you. There's some key things, but I'm also understanding that you're a Rhone Ranger a little bit somehow. Like you really like the Rhone varietals, correct?
Yeah. So I think you've listed a lot of the key ones. I think trying to describe the brand in terms of varieties is challenging, again, because I do so many different things. But philosophy-wise, I certainly like to explore maybe off the beaten path, non core varietals for Ontario. So not that I don't love making Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Cab Franc, but doing things with Syrah, Roussanne, Marsanne, Viognier, and even Sauvignon Blanc, which plays a big role here in Ontario, but I think is underappreciated, uh, is a big part of what I do. And then bubbles, of course, that's where Divergence started. I started with traditional method sparkling. It's still kind of my number one in terms of what I like to drink and passion to make. So that's a big part of it, but that's also a really long game with the time it takes to make those wines.
Yes, absolutely. And when you talk about like, would you say that single vineyard production is a little bit where you lean towards? Because when I look at like we often see single vineyard on your bottling. So is it something that you try to create as much as possible every vintage, or it depends?
I think with most of my wines, single vineyard is an important aspect of the identity. I'm keeping all these lots separate, even if they do eventually get blended, keeping them separate as late as possible. And with a couple of wines, like my Semillon Sauvignon Blanc or my red blend, I'm pulling from vineyards around the peninsula, and those vineyards are recognized on the back label, even though it's not a single vineyard wine. But for most of the varietal wines and even some of the blends like the MRV, those are vineyard wines from a singular place. And I think that's a key part of what I like doing, exploring different parts of Niagara in tiny parcels.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with like Thomas Batchelder and Ilya Sanchuk, and there's so many now guys that has mapped Niagara one vineyard at a time. Like you do it a little differently because you don't do it with one varietal. You do it with many different varietals. But I see like Bog Vineyard, we see Mio Vineyard, we see like different single vineyard that you really try to extract that pure terroir expression, right?
Yeah, I think, and you mentioned those other producers, and they, as you say, they've done a great job mapping Niagara through one or two or three key varieties. And with people like that laying the groundwork, I feel like it's kind of given me the option to come and cherry pick where I want to pull from. So if I know that Rhone varieties do really great in this pocket here in St. David's, or Chardonnay I really love from Lincoln Lakeshore, I don't necessarily feel compelled to make 12 Chardonnays from every sub-appellation, because people like Thomas do it better than you could ask for. But what I do love is finding the one or two sites that really speak to me and sourcing those to make a really interesting wine.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking about Rhone varietal, we have a feeling. I mean, we're pretty close with the guys at Black Bank Hill. I mean, they are doing an incredible job, and the rise of that new vineyard, that the new producer, I mean, they are absolutely skyrocketing in their rise in the Niagara wine industry. Tyler and Jonathan are rock stars. So now you've been starting to work with them quite seriously in terms of like you're pulling some of your Syrah from the Black Bank Hill vineyard. You guys are doing some stuff. Tell me a little bit more about that relationship. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Taylor and John are doing wonderful things over there and have planted that vineyard to an array of things, but importantly to this conversation, to Syrah and the three Rhone white varieties. And I would say they were getting started and building their winery around the same time that my brand was coming into the market. And so naturally we, I guess, see each other as colleagues. We're certainly friends now. And so back in 2023, I got an email from them that said, we might have a bit of Syrah available that is in excess of what we want to produce. Would you be interested? And of course, I couldn't say yes quickly enough. So I worked closely with John to figure out the harvest. He allocated my rows so they're different from what he harvested that year. And I made that wine from Syrah and a little bit of Viognier co-fermented from their vineyard. And they went on to pick Syrah a couple weeks later and made two wines themselves. And they're releasing those this weekend. So actually we're collaborating again with an event focused on Syrah and Rhone varieties this Saturday at Black
That's
Bank
awesome.
Hill. We have
That
6
is so cool.
producers, and those guys are releasing their 2023 wines, which I'm so excited to taste alongside mine. We'll have 3 Syrahs from that same vineyard with 2 different
Oh,
winemakers.
that's cool. I know that we have some big fan of Black Bank Hill among our members, especially their 23 Chardonnay. I think it's an incredible chard, one of the best in Niagara. And funny enough, we did our Burgundy Chardonnay, Burgundy Canada event at Black Bank Hill last year as well. So yes, I'm with you. I love what Taylor and Jonathan are doing, and great dude as well. So talking about Rome varietals, we have to start talking about your wines because we have an incredible lineup of wine that we want to talk about before we all go on the rest of our nights. It's what you gave us to taste, Jeff. It's absolutely spectacular. We'll get back to the Sauvignon Blanc in a few minutes because we're talking about Rome varietal. I want to talk about the Roussanne Marsanne Viognier. Okay, the MVR that you have just released is absolutely spectacular. And there's so much going on in that wine. It's been open since like what 48 hours for me, and things are evolving at a fast pace into that glass, into that bottle. So tell me a little bit about the source of the grapes, the way you made it, and yeah, what's the expectation for that wine? Because already I rated my wine. I rated your wine 93, and after I rate it, I usually go on the web space and try to see if other critics rated it, and I found that Rick Van Sickle was a big fan of that wine as well because he rated it 94 points, and I think it was one of the most exciting wine of the year for him. So these are big. These are big numbers.
Absolutely. That's a pretty fun wine. So from the 23 vintage, the fruit comes from Bach Vineyard, which is in St. David's, just below the escarpment, below York Road, for those familiar with the Niagara-on-the-Lake area. And it's a small parcel farmed by Ian Bach, and he's got something like 14 varieties planted on maybe 8 acres. So it's really an interesting and winemaker-driven vineyard for sure. So in 2023, I was fortunate enough to start getting access to the fruit from there, and brought in the 3 Rhone whites: Viognier, Marsanne, and Roussanne. I'm going to keep going. I don't know if Carl can hear me, but I trust that all of you can. So the 3 varieties were all harvested the same day in late October, and the Viognier was pressed separately. Marsanne and Roussanne, due to the small quantities, were processed together, and so we had Viognier juice and Marsanne Roussanne juice, and that was all sent to French oak barrels for fermentation. So barrel fermentation and then aging in those barrels for 10 months. And at the end of that, I think we'll be talking about the signature Viognier in a moment. I made a selection of a single varietal Viognier and a selection of Marsanne, Roussanne, and Viognier that makes up this blend. Hoping Carl comes back. Just give it a moment. Expand a little more on why I love to work with these Rhone varieties so much. Since Carl was suggesting earlier, that I certainly have a fondness for them, which is very true. I think Syrah and Viognier are 2 wines that I started drinking early in my wine education. Found some really incredible examples from the Rhone Valley, Condrieu and Northern Rhone Syrahs are some of my favorite wines to drink. And so when I started exploring Niagara vineyards, finding sites that that can grow these well, that's really something that I kind of latched onto. And I think it's interesting and fun to be one of a few, along with Blackbank Hill and a couple others, as Carl was mentioning, that are really focusing on these varieties. And really, I think showing that in some ways they do better in our climate than people realize. I know Syrah is winter sensitive, and some growers have, for good reason, not continued to grow it because of its penchant for dying every few winters. But if you put it in the right sites where it does survive, and certainly the whites, I find they do quite well with Niagara's climate. And if you're patient about ripening them, we have no trouble in most vintages getting them properly ripe. And so I think that that really makes for some compelling examples of these wines, and they have a unique freshness that the same varieties from France or even from the Okanagan don't always have. Our climate here in Niagara lends itself to maintaining that freshness, and I think that, combined with those varietal characters, is really what keeps me engaged and wanting to make these wines each year. While we're waiting for Carl beside me, Mark is offline sending me questions, so Carl can send his fee for continuing the interview. Oh, we might have.
Unbelievable.
Are you back?
Nope.
Hi, okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Pretty darn fucking embarrassing. Sorry about that, Jeff.
That's okay. I just spent a few minutes talking about Rhone varieties and why they're so great in Niagara.
There you go. So I'm here. I'm back.
I may have already spoken to your questions, but if you want to continue on that wine, feel free. I was just
I'm sure
explaining.
you did. I'm sure you talk about it at large. I was watching it. I tried to sign up with the different account, but I don't know. Something's going on that property. My apology for that. But hey, okay. So there's the MVR, another wine who absolutely rocked it when I tasted it, and more, Jeff. I've been tasting incredible Viognier from here in the Okanagan, from Niagara, and your Viognier is absolutely rocking. Maybe you talk about it a little bit while you were talking about the MVR, maybe, but I want to talk about the winemaker series, okay? Because these three wines that you have released, the Grimsby Hillside Frontière Bloc Chardonnay, the Blackbank Hill Syrah, and the Bock Viognier are three wines under the same label that you call the winemaker series, correct?
Yeah, so call it the signature series. So that label, which I know you have a few of them around, has my signature on the front. But the important thing is that the vineyard is the biggest text on the front of those labels.
Yeah.
So this is a series of wines that I was already making single vineyard wines, vineyard focused wines. But when I got access to some really incredible parcels and good vintages, I wanted to set these apart from the rest of my portfolio. And so this lineup is wines that are vineyard forward. They're primarily single varietal expressions, and just things that I really love, I guess, promoting as something we can do so strong, like that Chardonnay, the Syrah, and the Viognier. And there's other wines to come in that series, but that's not even important to the conversation. I think those three really hammer home a lot about what kind of makes me tick here in Niagara when it comes to
And
wine.
I mean, did you because when I look at the label, it's a little bit like a little inspiration from of Burgundy, right? When you see either the village front and center or something like that. Was it the idea? A little bit more of the old world uh, expression, the old world definition of the terroir, where the fruit comes from first and foremost.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was the concept behind the label. And with my designers, we looked at a lot of Burgundy labels, and we arrived at something that's in the end quite contemporary, clean, but still maintains that hierarchy of vineyard first, variety second, vintage third, and the producer name is small and down at the bottom because what you're tasting is that site, and you just happen to be tasting it through the lens of my winemaking.
Yeah, just to get back a little bit, because like I mentioned earlier, we took the Grimsby Hillside Frontier Block with us in Burgundy. And we had it. We had some Batchelder. We had some Leaning Post. We had some of yours as well. And it was so funny because we had a lot of Premier Cru, which the Premier Cru right now in Burgundy are like 175 to 235 euros. I mean, for some of, we don't even talk about the Grand Cru here. And it makes me irks a little bit when people say, I can't believe that Canadian wines, now there's Canadian wines over $50. It's incredible. It's crazy where everything's going. And when you put that in perspective and you bring it to the international level, and we take our top level wines at $55 or $53 in that case, and you put them alongside the $150, $200, $300 iconic wine, and you realize, holy shit, our wines are standing up. Our wines are right there. I'm not saying that our wines are better than Premier Cru or Grand Cru Montrachet. I'm not saying that. I'm not that dumb. But what I'm saying, though, sometimes for a fraction of the price, the wines are standing up. The wines are right there, and you can feel that we are getting right there with the top. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes. I haven't had the privilege to do that exercise in Burgundy, but Paul, the owner of Grimsby Hillside Vineyard, actually curated a tasting for a bunch of us who make wines from his site a couple of years back. And he had us taste 14 Chardonnays blind. All of them Premier Cru, Grand Cru, Burgundy, with a couple ringers from other places, and then 3 wines from Grimsby Hillside. And absolutely, the Niagara wines show just as well. Again, not better. It's not it's not putting them above those iconic wines, but they had every right being in that lineup, and it was hard to distinguish from a quality perspective, really, where they stack up.
And also the quality of winemaking and technique that we're using, right? It's not only about the dirt. It's not like about like the skill and the technique that we're using. And our producer, that's where also really hits home to me when we have, because we had over 60 Canadian wines with us in Burgundy. And the variety of different, like we had stainless steel wine, we had concrete wine, we had so many different things. But all in all, my big understanding of what I really hit home to me is the quality of what we do for the price that we're selling on wines. It's absolutely fantastic. And I mean, you're a part of it, my friend. And what you do is very spectacular. We're so thrilled to have your wines with us this week. And like I mentioned, there's some really good score. 94 points for the Chardonnay, the Grimsby Hillside Frontier Block. 93 points for the Viognier Bock Vineyard. 93 points for the MVR. 93 points also for the Sparkling, the MV1, also spectacular. I would like to talk about Sauvignon Blanc with you before I let you go. I know that was a little rocky here, up and down, but let's talk Sauvignon Blanc. It's a very important varietal in your portfolio. And I would say it's a varietal that grows very quick especially Niagara, grows in the sense that in terms of popularity with wine lover. We're seeing more and more producer getting their hands on Sauv Blanc. We're seeing different different deliveries of Sauvignon Blanc. We see fumé, we see clean, pure Sauvignon Blanc, but people are asking a lot about Sauvignon Blanc. And this week, we have 3 vintage. So we have a mini vertical with you, the 21, 22, and 23. Also a sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. So we're doing it on a 4-pack, 21, 22, 23 still, and 22 sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. What is your approach with SB?
So yeah, as you mentioned, Sauvignon Blanc plays a big role in the portfolio in various forms. And I think well before I started Divergence, that was a favorite grape of mine. And as much like what you were saying, it grows so well in Niagara. And I think what's really compelling about it to me is that our Niagara Sauvignon Blancs, although they can lean one style or another, we're not trying to emulate another part of the world. And I think our real strength is leaning into what Niagara Sauvignon Blanc is, because we're not as punchy and aromatic as New Zealand, and we're not quite as mineral or textured as the Loire, but we have more fruit and we have a lot of ripeness in our Sauvignon Blanc. And so with my still Sauvignon Blancs, I love to lean into that ripeness. So the wines are barrel fermented. They're not labeled Fumé Blanc because the barrel aromatics are not really the focus of these wines. The barrel's just there to build texture and frame that fruit in a way.
Layers too. Is that something that I noticed? Those wines are very layered.
Yeah. And really making Sauvignon Blanc in a way that's textured, full, and ageable. We're tasting wines in this vertical back to 2021, and I don't think I knew when I put that in bottle what kind of longevity it would have, but I have it open beside me here, and I'm really pleased that it's still drinking wonderfully, and I think gaining complexity and still super fresh.
I mean, 3 different years, obviously, so 3 different story from Mother Nature. And 21 to me is a little bit more grassy. 22 is a rock star. I mean, the minerality, the depth, the layer. To me, it's complex. And 23, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more approachable, riper as well. So 3 complete different story. There's one thing we need to mention. There was 1 single vineyard for the first 2 years, 21 and 22, and a change of source of fruit for 23.
Yeah, so 2021, 2022, those wines are both from the Hughes Vineyard in Beamsville. That's a vineyard that's about halfway between the lake and the escarpment in Beamsville. And I think those wines really show West Niagara Sauvignon Blanc well, with the clay soils there and a bit cooler conditions for ripening. You have great kind of green fruit. The 21 does have a bit of grassiness to it, but I think both of those wines share a lot of pea pod and really just interesting characters that are so typical of the Sauvignon Blanc there. And then when you put the 23 next to it, you're immediately in a different world. So 2023 is the Creek Road Vineyard farmed by the Oppenlander family in 4 Mile Creek. And that's a site with old Sauvignon Blanc vines planted east-west, which is the opposite direction to most of Niagara's vineyards. And just super ripe, but also complex, because with those rows facing that direction and the old vines with the large canopy, you get berries that are golden and ripe, and the other side of the cluster is green and crunchy, and all of that comes in with the harvest and shows in that wine.
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome. And that's funny because I brought that mini vertical with a couple winemakers here in BC last weekend. And that's funny because, in terms of complexity, 22 were all of our choice. We're like, okay, this is a geeky wine. And we got to 23. And Rob, my friend, the owner of Black Market, Rob looked at me, he's like, this is a slutty wine in all the best sense in the world, right? It was more approachable, but so hedonistic, so much texture, so much creaminess, more approachable, but very, very layered. We had so much fun tasting these three wines together, and it's fun when you're with a bunch of winemakers. They give you a little bit more of a technical aspect of like projecting. So that was a lot of fun, and I have to say these three Sauvignon Blanc tells three different stories, and it's so much fun. On top of it, you got the little minis, the little mini bottles with sparkling wine. So sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. There is not a ton here, and Sauvignon Blanc sparkling on the market. So what a great idea. You had to do that.
Yeah, so I had already made Riesling in the 375 ml half bottles, traditional method in the previous vintage. And in 2022, I wanted to do Sauvignon Blanc in that way. I'd had some Charmat method Sauvignon Blancs, but only one or two traditional method Sauvignon Blanc wines that I've had before that. And so I set out to make that wine. And that's a wine that Mark said is not going to work. You're not going to be able to make this. It's going to be too reductive, or there's going to be challenges, which of course there are. It's a really difficult style because of what Sauvignon Blanc wants to do as a variety and the conflicts with what you need to do to make sparkling wine. But the result in that bottle is super exciting. I think it's full of Sauvignon Blanc character, and it's bubbly. So like, what's not to like?
That is, and it's so much fun to taste. And what I like, you can tell it's Sauvignon Blanc. It's not just a sparkling. No, when you smell it, you pop the crown cap off and you smell SB. You taste it, you taste SB. It's not a sparkling to me. It's a Sauvignon Blanc sparkling. It's very different. Like you can describe the varietal, you taste the varietal, you smell the varietal. What an amazing job. And having it in a half bottle, I mean, you have it, man. Like you have a glass and a half or two glass, and you're done in $20, so well priced. Great job on that. So we have 4 different Sauvignon Blanc on that feature. Really well done. You gave us also a little deal on 2 of the, like a little member pricing on it as well. So, Jeff, I've been abusing your time a lot, and I'm so.
We got a 1% make sure Jeff's still on. I don't think you've been on for the last.
No, you're here. You're listening to. Yeah, he's here. Perfect. Yeah, so I just want to thank you, man. It was so great to have you on. We had such a good conversation. So in the meantime, I'm sorry for the little technical difficulties, but I think we got the message out. And what I'm really excited, there's a few things. It's the 3-pack of your top end of the Vineyard series. Is so exciting. So I'm really, really thrilled to put that together. The Sauvignon Blanc vertical is really cool. And all the rest, man, the sparkling, the rosé. We haven't even talked about the rosé and the Cabernet, but these are other wines also available here.
Yep. I had to pick what we sent you for this, but I think it's a really great assortment of wines that kind of shows the cross-section of what I do. Sparkling, white, red, vineyard-focused wines, leaning into the Sauvignon Blanc vertical, and certainly all those Rhone varieties. So it's got a bit of everything.
Hey, before I let you go, I just thought of that because there's not a ton of Petit Verdot in Niagara, and the Cabernet was the one that I pulled last, and I'm looking at 75% Cab Sauv, 15% Cab Franc, 10% Petit Verdot. Which pocket of Niagara have you found to ripe Petit Verdot at that level?
Yeah, so that's same vintage, same vineyard as the Rhone White. So this is the Bach Vineyard in St. David's. And the cool thing there, 10% Petit Verdot is more than most people are going to put in their Cabernet blends, because Petit Verdot can be so dominant, can overwhelm the rest of that wine. But the interesting thing in this wine is it was picked and co-fermented with a portion of the Cab Sauv. And I think that technique really helps it integrate earlier and lets you put so much more of it in that final blend. So the result is 10%, but it doesn't come across as the dominant variety there. I think the
absolutely
Cabernet
not.
really shines first, and then the Franc and the Petit Verdot are just there supporting and bringing that complexity.
No, totally. And I like the graphite component of it. I love the texture at the end, and I just call it like charcoal-like minerality on the back end. Bring and that little floral note, I think, coming from the Petit Verdot, really, really cool as well. So 91 plus point on my side. So I'm loving everything, man. I'm loving everything. So we're gonna plaster social media with your brand in the next couple of days, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your generosity of your knowledge and just being in with us. Thank you, man.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful talking with you, and I really appreciate all you do for our wines, Canadian wine in general.
And yeah, you're on for the next 3 days. After that, we're going to move on to different producer under the collab, and we're going to get you all guys throughout the whole July. We have small producer from collab under the collab umbrella. We're going to have all of you guys finishing with Mark Pister of Fogalar at the end. So in between, all of you guys. So it's really, really cool. And we can build a case. So if you want to order a few bottles of Divergence, keep some room. You can build your own case throughout the month. And we have, I think, a total of what? I don't know. It's probably 36 wines available over the last, over the month. So that's going to be awesome. Thank you, Mark. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mark, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a great opportunity for people to put together wines from all the different producers and have them shipped at the end of the month. It's just a great opportunity.
Yeah, first time we're doing that. So the full month, it's all you guys. So Jeff Moote, owner, winemaker of Divergence Wine, and also one of the main collaborator at Collab Wine, that beautiful collaboration project operating at Marioness. And so Jeff, have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you, man.
Thank you. You as well. Cheers.
Have a good one, my friend.